Hey everyone, my name is Aries, being a local person. I actually worked at the ACLU in the past, and this is like from my knowledge of what's been going on. When people talk about free speech and what we're fighting for, we're talking about two separate things. When we said real pain, real action meant much more than getting rid of the wall. It meant much more than that. It meant that UCSD needs to build a backbone and come out with a strong response to increase diversity. And I'm going to quote something. Instead of opting for gestures that only appear to cure the disease, universities have to do the hard work. A recruitment to increase faculty and student diversity, and counseling to raise awareness about bigotry and its history, and changing curricula to institutionalize more inclusive approaches to all subject matter. What we are aiming for are institutional and systemic changes that need to be addressed. And that's why there are currently all the BSU members here, because some of the BSU members actually go into administration for this. Like honestly, like all the other media orgs that be on our side, if they knew what our main goals were. What our main objective, like I'm actually sorry to blame like AS for this, but they actually created this dynamic and pitting media orgs against BSU for this, because it's just how it was. Like actually, I'm not saying all would be on our side. The fact is that there are some bigots hiding behind the free speech crowd, and we have to recognize that. But we have to make sure that fake people realize free speech is not at risk. Institutional change is feasible and realistic and won't come at any price to any freedom. Some of the examples are college entrance and student aid applications could help these problems more by asking about bigotry-related infractions or convictions, request discussions of intolerance in essays, create mandatory coursework on intolerance, or otherwise improve the situation. Administrations need to play their part at attacking this, and they know they have these options because it's been the ACLU in the past, and ACLU does support us because none of our demands actually attack free speech. So basically what I'm getting at is everything we as a community are fighting for is called institutional racism. Something that's unseen but is felt. We can fight it by institutionalizing change to better the campus climate. So, yeah.
There was a woman actually was sitting behind where Aries was sitting with the glasses on. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if she went, but in the back that she reported she hasn't heard of it or seen of it. I'm glad you have the I'm glad you have the privilege of not knowing, because here on this fucking campus we have to know what it's like. And then we're not attacking your free speech. You have that right. I'm just fighting for not being able to fund it. We don't want our money to go to that. Because all the shit you publish about Latinas, about fucking Haiti, the victims, like, what the fuck is that?
There's a visor on the side, Billy.
All right, my first question is to Peter because of the statement he made. So if it is in, as you said, if it's not solved by 10th week, you said that you will motion. Can we have that in writing to all the media orgs?
Sure.
All right. And then, as a follow-up question, to take the example of CalPERS, in the past, it required that students opt out to not have their funds. And currently that's the case at UCSD. If you want to get your funds back from Media Org or from an event, from a student group, you can opt out and get your money back. Now, why is there not any way for, when students enter UCSD or every year, why can students not do a choice? Give them a checklist of every organization that comes to UCSD, that works at UCSD. Let them choose these groups and let that fund be divided accordingly. Is there anything on that? Because I don't think there is. So that the students, as they enter.
There's that.
Right, so doing that sort of democratic checklist of what you'd like to fund actually breaks precedent or law, breaks the First Amendment.
Then why did CalPERS, why is it like CalPERS now?
And you brought up the example of the opt-out. Even if you were to opt out of say, funding the call out of political, religious, ideological, you get your 30 cents back. It actually doesn't defund the organization, nor does it actually prevent your fees from going into that organization. All it does is give you 30 cents back.
Yeah, but
fees out of your 49 or so dollars still go to the wall. It is actually a broken system. And that's something that I've personally asked legal counsel on is, hey, if a student decides to opt out of the koala, why isn't it that when they get the 30 cents back, why can't AS reduce its allocation by 30 cents? So I've posed that to legal counsel. They're getting back to me on that. Maybe that's the type of system we put in. I mean, like I said, we're just discussing options here. And we want to do options that everyone thinks is right. I mean, we're not after restricting free speech. We're not after censoring the student body. We're just after figuring out a new approach at doing this that doesn't infringe on the right of free speech for those who who have to pay this fee by mandate. They have a free speech right too that currently is not being protected by our current system.
Would anyone like to address how CalPERS is a voluntary fee?
It is now. It used to not be.
But, all right, never mind. Sorry, gentleman in the middle with the gray shirt and glasses. Yeah.
I'd like to a few things. First of all, you talked about the right not to be offended, and I wanted to bring up an important case that happened.
That wasn't the right time. I talked about the equal protection clause.
Okay. The thing about it is first of all, can I distance myself from these fuckers?
Thank you.
Second of all,
Watch language, please.
Sure. Second of all, I will also say that I support the free speech, including funding from students, because that's what case law has decided. We have, in our country, we give money through resources to people who we disagree with. This happened in 1977. I personally am Jewish. I know what it's like to be hated. And in 1977, the ACLU defended the Nazis' right to march on Skokie. And the fact is that was public resources because the police had to protect them. And I support the ACLU's decision to defend with public resources that minority opinion, because that opinion has since been used for stare decisis to protect other minority opinions.
Precedent.
The fact is, what?
Precedent.
Sorry, I'm a little bit heated.
Same thing.
Okay, thank you. So I absolutely feel, and Supreme Court has upheld many, many times, that we need to support, especially on public campuses, every single opinion. And I just wanted to say that I lost my train of thought. Oh, second thing, for you, Utsa. You seem to be completely confused because you keep saying that you want to decide on things objectively, but then your emails say you want to get rid of a certain viewpoint. You've been saying that you want to find objective qualifications to get rid of people subjectively. It makes no sense. It's absolutely stating that you want to find objective ways of getting rid of one subjective opinion. How is that not subjective? It's ridiculous. I guess you can respond. I don't know.
I mean, it's my personal opinion. I don't think our fees should be going to fund the koala. Straight up.
Yes.
That's my personal opinion.
Within the United States, though, it's yeah.
We have control.
All right, so the woman, MT, second row.
Yeah, I just want to clarify something. I have two questions. The first is, you keep talking about the AS objective criterion. So what is that? And also, how is making media orgs conform to that objective, not censorship?
Sure. So currently, we actually have criteria that you already follow in terms of getting access to AS Council media funding. That is, you have to publish by a certain date, you have to enter into a production contract with the associated students, and you have to put on a disclaimer on your paper with our logo on it, with a certain amount of text. So there are already criteria on how you can get access to this resource. Those are the criteria we decided on having as access to the resource. We even also have a funding deadline. A piece of hyperbole that was actually in the Guardian editorial was that we were somehow with this piece silencing any new opinions that could be formed. Well, if you're a new student media organization, you actually can't have access to student media organization funding anyway. We had already passed the deadline for spring quarter funding. We did not silence any new voice. Another example is the point that was brought up that